Welcome to the Riding in the Weeds podcast, where we tackle life's inevitable challenges from navigating mountain bike trails to overcoming business hurdles and forging deeper connections with pets and people. It's easy to find yourself tangled in the weeds, but we're here to help with insights and strategies that'll get you out of the weeds. Our goal is to boost your performance in both sports and everyday life by sharing essential skills that we've learnt along the way. Through tales of our entrepreneurship journey, thrilling biking adventures, and fostering meaningful relationships, your hosts, Natasha, Lockey, and Ginny will guide you on a journey that's not only enjoyable, but also inspiring. Join us to gain confidence that you need to navigate the trails of life. Welcome to Riding in the Weeds. We are at episode 52. And today we are talking about how the best of the best have coaches. Oftentimes we resist getting out of our comfort zone, getting coaching, going and finding someone who knows more than we do and learning from them. And today I just want to dive into this because I was thinking about it and I was like, what is it that makes us resist getting better at something? Why would anybody not want to get better at something? I said to Ginny, what is going on here? And so we thought that this was a really good topic for our podcast today to really dive into the resistance that we have to that feeling of discomfort that comes when you really acknowledge that you don't know all there is to know and that you could actually get better. So if you are somebody who knows that you resist these moments, or you're just in that space of you want to learn or you want to do that thing, but you're not doing it and you get stuck in the weeds because you're in the in-between. You're not doing it, but you're not doing it. At the end of the day, coaches need coaches. And when it comes down to it, the very best, the most successful people in the world are the ones that are constantly learning, that are constantly putting themselves into that discomfort, moving through it, so that they can have a better experience on the other side. So let's dive into this whole topic. I am Natasha Lockey. I am a performance, life, and mountain bike coach. And of course, I have my amazing co-host, Ginny, with us, who is an animal communicator. She loves to work with horses and a fellow business owner. So, Ginny, what do you think about this? Coaches need coaches. What's going on?
Yeah, it's very true. You don't get to the Olympics without a coach. You don't get to high level sports of any kind without a coach. But that being said, I think even a looser idea with this than just limited to sports. I think anything that you are interested in, you can find someone who has more knowledge than you that will help you be better at whatever you want to do. And that goes for all the mundane things. That goes for your diet, that goes for fitness, that goes for artwork or wanting to learn skills or crafts or anything that you would like to do. There's somebody out there that knows how to do a lot of it. And frankly, in our day and age, it's free. There's so much information for free. So why would you not pursue that out of curiosity?
It's actually interesting what you just said, though, because there is so much information. And it is actually one of my descriptions of one of my bike course programs is that if you are watching all the YouTube videos and you're getting all the free tips and you still don't feel like your mountain biking is as good as it could be, come and do this program. I was reading something the other day about honey. And apparently if you eat honey with a metal spoon, you kill all the enzymes. I was like, well, that's weird because the honey at the store is in a vat and it's a metal vat and I pour it out. So that honey is dead because it's been stored in a metal. And there were all these comments underneath that were like, that's wrong. It's just clickbait. And so we really do need to decide who we're going to believe and then pick someone to follow. And then generally that person will at some point have an offering that you could pay them to actually give you feedback on whether you're doing the thing they're trying to teach you to do. And oftentimes what I see being a coach is that that's where the relationship can break down. You've got two types of people in the world. You got the people that are like, okay, I'm all in, I'm going to go that next step. And then you have the people that, for whatever reason, obviously, if you can't afford it, that's a good reason not to do it. However, what is it that stops us from taking that next step? People follow me on Instagram, they love my bike tips, but then they don't sign up for a bike course and they continue to struggle. I don't need coaching, I'm good.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people in the horse world that are the same way. And there's nothing wrong if you want to be able to do, I guess to put it bluntly, there's nothing wrong with being mediocre. Like, that's okay in certain areas of your life if you're having fun. And I know lots and lots of horse people in my world and in my circles who have fun with their horses. And they have no aspirations of getting to the Olympics or no aspirations of even competing in local shows or anything. And they are enjoying themselves. And I would hope that when those people bump up against a situation where their horse doesn't behave as they expected or they are encountering problems, then yeah, they're going to go seek more information. This is all not to say that you have to do, you have to be learning more all the time, because that's not the point. But if you have goals and you keep saying you want to do things, then at some point you have to face the reality that you are saying one thing and yet your actions are doing something else. I don't know that there's any one answer as to why people will say they want to do something and then don't get to it. I think there's a lot of answers for that question.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I guess essentially, if you're in the weeds, then the best way out is to seek help. If you're not in the weeds and you're having fun and everything is great, and you're not constantly going, oh, I wish I was better at this, or you're on your bike and you're getting frustrated by things every time you go out biking and it is diminishing your enjoyment and it's taking away from your desire to go biking, then that's where you got to do something about it. If you are somebody who is perfectly happy with the way that your body looks, the fitness level that you have, and it works for you, then you don't need to do anything different. It's when, exactly as you say, when you bump up against resistance, that's when we need to seek help. And when you're a coach, you've generally become the sort of person that is constantly looking for ways to move through. So you're always bumping up against discomfort. You're always bumping up against resistance, which I think is why coaches need coaches. Because we're like, I'm not happy here. I need to move through. I know that where I am right now is super uncomfortable and I can't stay here. So help. Please help. Get me out of here. As a coach, the other day I was like, I just want to make you have more fun on your bike. Why won't you let me help you? And that's where this whole kind of thing started ruminating in my head. I'm like, so what is it about that person who is frustrated? They're not getting the results they want. Why are they not showing up for whatever you want? Better results in your health and fitness. You want to be stronger. Go to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym because I'm going to feel weak. I'm going to feel like I'm not good enough. It's going to hurt. And I know that I'm not going to be as good as the people that are already there. And I think that in itself really stops us dead in our tracks. And we're like, you know what? That pain is bigger than the pain of staying where I am right now. So I'm not going to seek help. I'll just be okay. And as you say, there's nothing wrong with being mediocre unless you're unhappy in that space.
Yeah. When I think about all of the people that I have learned from, I know I've mentioned numerous ones in previous episodes. When I think about each one of them, part of the reason I wanted to learn from them was because they were always working on learning themselves. And I feel like it's the mark of a really good leader and coach. I consider those to not be synonymous words, that they are always looking to improve themselves and improve their craft that they may be teaching. And as someone who has coached people periodically, every now and then you're going to have a student or a learner that pushes your knowledge limit or your ability to be able to reach that person effectively. And so if you are not a coach that is seeking more information, I don't really want to learn from you. I don't want to do that because I don't feel like that's going to be valuable to me if you are not pushing your own boundaries when it comes to both the craft but also the art of teaching people. Because you can be good at something and you can be terrible at teaching it. And I think there are many people who call themselves coaches in this world who fall in that category, unfortunately. They happen to be very, very good at whatever their chosen craft is, and yet they are terrible teachers. But it happens.
Yeah, it totally happens. And it's interesting because as a mountain bike coach, right now I feel like I'm not pushing my boundaries on my bike. And so it is actually making me feel like I'm not qualified to teach people how to ride a bike. However, I go out and I do a lesson and I'm like, oh, I'm good at this. I've got this. And I also was talking to one of my fellow coaches yesterday, and she's teaching a lesson tonight. She's actually got 8 people in her class. And she's like, what do I do? And I started talking and I was like, Tash, you need to stop talking. So I was like, well, you can do this, you can do this, and you can do this. And it made me realize that I've got a lot of experience in this realm. And when I'm on my bike, I am always trying to do things better. And if I run into issues, it's like, who can I reach out to help me with this particular issue? And it's exactly as you say, right? Sometimes it's not easy to just find the information and get that improvement. However, knowing that you have more to learn, knowing that people are going to push your boundaries, and being willing to put yourself into a space where those boundaries are being pushed, whether you're a student or you're a teacher, accepting the challenge and wanting the challenge and being okay with not knowing everything, and then going out and finding the answers. It's what keeps us living. It's hard though. It's really uncomfortable. And I think there is something about the world that we're in right now. There is so much discomfort and there is so much going on. And even just in our day-to-day life, like groceries are expensive. The cost of living has gone up. We are not in comfortable times. And I feel like we're coming out of a period where it was pretty comfortable. And then COVID happened, and now we're all kind of uncomfortable. And I don't know whether people are wanting to voluntarily create any more discomfort for themselves.
If you had asked me, like pre-COVID, if things were uncomfortable, I would have told you yes. And now they're just uncomfortable in ways that I never anticipated. And I think that's part of life in a way, and part of why getting comfortable being uncomfortable is so important and so useful to progress in every aspect of life. When you can make friends with discomfort and not make it wrong, then you're going to be able to have that much more success. So much of the marketing that we see, so much of social media is driven towards comfort and dopamine. And the real world doesn't function that way. The real world off of a screen doesn't function that way. The results are often delayed. And when all you focus on is the pain of going to the gym, how uncomfortable it's going to be, how vulnerable it's going to be, and how sweaty you're going to get, and how hard it is, your muscles are going to ache, it's not fun, then that's going to make you sit there and doom scroll for the hour instead of getting up off your butt and going to the gym. But if you can instead focus on the benefits that are on the other side of that, both the immediate ones, eventually you do get a serotonin boost and dopamine boost from going to the gym, but that's more of an after effect. That's not
Yes.
during the middle of the sweat.
And sometimes it's the beginning that I think actually probably
Yeah.
sucks. This morning I lay in bed thinking about the fact that I had an 8 o'clock appointment to do my podcast with you, and I needed to get up, I needed to do my smoothie, I needed to have a shower, and I really wanted to work out. And like, Tash, you can just do like a 10-minute workout. Like, let's just get up, we'll do a 10-minute workout. Yeah, but I gotta put a bra on, and then I gotta take it off to have a shower for just 10 minutes. And this was going through my head. And I lay there for 8 minutes thinking about how I didn't have time and I didn't want to do this, that, and the other thing. And finally, I just got myself up and put on my bra and put out my yoga mat, and I did a 10-minute workout. And it was fascinating and how I got myself there was by thinking about, what is future me wanting? You keep saying that you want to be XYZ, and the only way you're going to get there is by doing this thing. So, coaching ourselves into discomfort, and it wasn't that bad. And I'm definitely not as fit as I used to be. There's only one way to get back there. Just sitting ruminating in that space is not going to achieve the goals.
Yeah, and
So,
you basically spent the entire amount of time you wanted to exercise laying there thinking
thinking
about
about
exercising.
resisting picking up my phone because I was like, don't start doom scrolling, Tash. You're not supposed to. There's the thing that if you get outside within X amount of time of getting up and get into the sunlight, that'll wake you up. And that thought, the amount of times that has gotten me up and outside going for a walk with the dog, because I have been told this piece of information and I know it to be true. It's like, oh, you will feel better if you get up and go outside and get into the fresh air. You'll also take your dog for a walk. So it's that coaching myself through this discomfort. And that's come from finding pieces of information, listening to podcasts. And one of my doom scrolling the other day, I did see somebody posted this really good reel about how you can have anything you want in life. You have to be willing to be with the shadow of that thing. If you want to get fit, you need to be in the unfit. If you want to be a better mountain biker, you need to be in the I'm not as good as I want to be right now. If you want to have a better relationship with your pet, you need to actually accept that what's going on with your pet right now is not actually acceptable. And finding out that what the dog's behavior is actually not them being excited and having lots of fun, but it might actually be anxiety. You then have to deal with the emotions of, well, I'm a bad dog parent. I'm not doing the right things, which makes us feel uncomfortable. It makes us feel like we're not okay. So every time we go into a situation where we are trying to improve the experience that we're having, we have to face the shadow, which is that what we are doing right now might not be correct. It really sucks to go and learn something, because in order to learn the thing, you have to acknowledge that you don't actually know it as well as you think you do.
Yeah.
It's hard. The shadow is what we all avoid on moment by moment basis. We are trying so hard to not be in the shadow. So why would you pay somebody to put you there? This is going to be really unpleasant and not fun. I got an email from a coaching client for tonight, and she's like, I'm terrified. I was so excited that she actually told me how terrified she was. She said such things as, I'm a very new beginner. I've only ridden this trail and this trail. I know that that's not very impressive. And I'm really terrified about coming to class. But she signed up. She's coming. And she's willing to walk through that intense discomfort. She has probably been in the discomfort from the day she signed up for this program. And I think I forget a lot of the
Probably
time.
before that, when she started thinking about signing up for the program.
When she started thinking about riding a bike to start with. As a coach, I forget, I make it about myself. Like, what am I doing wrong? What's my marketing? Why are people not signing up for my programs? Am I not good enough? Is my marketing not good enough? Is what I'm putting out there not good enough? And then I have to step back and be like, okay, what is it that I'm offering? And how do I put it in such a way that it seems less uncomfortable? Because just telling people that the future vision, what you're going to have on the other side of this looks like this, that's often not enough to pull them through. You really have to be able to dig into their heart and let them know that it's going to be okay. But at the end of the day, you've got to make that decision that you're going to take the step. You're going to go and walk into that class at the gym, and you're going to commit to doing it every day for a month. You're not just going to go in once and never go back because it sucked.
Yeah. I think that this speaks to a lot of things, that when we are in groups, that is often a huge help because there's other people around you. There's people that are counting on you to show up. This is why having partners, accountability buddies for whatever it is, makes things work, because it gives you someone else to rely on other than your own willpower, which is finite. You only have a certain amount of that a day. And if you've already burned up half of it trying to cope with doom scrolling and all of the things that you work on every day, then there's none left for these sorts of projects that you want to work on. The other aspect of that, though, is, again, not making discomfort wrong. One of the biggest questions I get from people with their pets is my pet in pain? And that's a perfectly valid question. But the issue is that most people are asking that question from an emotional place. They're not asking it from a neutral, like, okay, well, we just need to correct the pain issue. Many times it's an older pet who might be dealing with arthritis or dealing with mobility issues. Their body is starting to deteriorate a little bit, and people want to know if they're in pain. The thing is, humans have an emotional response to pain. It's the same way with the discomfort of going and working on something that you need coaching with or need support with. We have an emotional response to that. We feel vulnerable. We might get frustrated. We feel something about the discomfort. And the thing is, with our pets and pain, they don't have an emotional response to it. It just is. It's a completely neutral thing that they experience. And many of our pets handle pain so much better than we do as humans because of that. There's no emotion attached to it. It doesn't mean anything about them just because they're in pain. And if we can adopt a little more of that attitude about discomfort, about working on new skills, about the vulnerability of trying things, I think our success would rocket, because there'd be so much less in our way. When we're having an emotional response about whether we can or can't do something, or about how good we are at something, we're in our own way at that point.
Yeah, there's so much in what you just said. And I think coming back to professional athletes, very successful business people, they don't have an emotional response to not being able to do something. In fact, they have the opposite. Oh, I'm not doing this perfectly. Wow, this person can actually help me get to the next level. And it's the opposite, because they're constantly striving to be the absolute best. There's no uncomfortableness. There's not the discomfort or the vulnerability. There is just, I'm not performing at this thing as well as I want to be. So therefore, I need to find someone who can help me get to the other side of this challenge that I'm having. And all it is another challenge in the road of moving forward. I'm currently avoiding the discomfort of listening to books that make me better as a human being. And I've delved back into my fantasy book addiction. The fantasy, it's all about the hero's journey, right? The person, they don't know they're a hero. They're just a normal person. They're living in Hobbit Town. Suddenly they find out that they're the one that's going to save the world, and they go off and they experience all the things that go, and they come out the other side a completely different version of themselves. when they leave the Shire, they have no idea that that's the experience that they are going to have. So therefore they go about it kind of blindly and move through. And that is very much where we want to be, right? We want to be in this space of moving into the next version of ourselves. And sometimes we know what that is. And in the fantasy books, it's generally driven by wanting to save the people that you love. And that becomes more important than the discomfort of what you're actually going through. Is you're drawn forward by what needs to happen. You're drawn forward by, you don't actually have a choice, and you're willing to sacrifice yourself in order to achieve the goal that you've set. In mountain biking, what I've found is if you are climbing up a hill or you're going around a hard corner, if you look to the flat spot on the other side of the hill or the flat spot on the other side of the corner, as soon as you can see the easy that's coming after the hard, there's a big rock roll, but on the other side of it, there's a nice easy section. There's a jagged piece of rock, but on the other side, there is a nice easy section for you to recover. If you direct your vision to where you're going, your brain actually thinks it's already there and will respond in turn. But if you are looking at the hill, if you're looking at the rock, if you are looking at the difficulty that you're about to experience, it is hard. And your brain and your body respond to it being hard. It's absolutely phenomenal. You're almost at the top of the hill. You're running out of power. As soon as you lift your eyes up and look to where you're going, your legs suddenly go, and this burst of power comes because your brain is thinking that it's on the flat section, and it responds to being on the flat section. And it is the most phenomenal physiological thing that happens. And I can't explain it, but I know that it is 100% true. And the same thing happens if you can project yourself into the future experience. And as you said, what is it going to feel like after you go to the gym? What's it going to feel like after you do that job that you really don't want to do? If you can put yourself in that place, you actually get that burst of power and you move through it to the other side. And I think often that is why having a coach, someone who knows something a bit more than you do, because they can tell you the quick hacks that will get you there faster. So instead of butting up against a brick wall, you're actually able to just go around the brick wall. Yeah. And that is often what coaching does for you. It's not there to make you feel like you don't know things. It's actually there to be like, yeah, this is a problem that everybody has. And what I found is if you do these 3 things, it'll actually get you to the other side way faster. Or you can do it your way and struggle through the swamp. But what you don't know is if you just go down the road a kilometer, there's actually a bridge. You don't have to go through the swamp.
What I love about your example with the coaching and where you're putting your focus, number one, that goes back to the last episode. So if you didn't catch that one, go hit that one up about focus, because it is vital where you put your focus. That can determine your success or your failure or struggle. What's so sort of comical about it is nothing changed on the hill. Nothing in the environment changed. Where your focus changed and what your brain was working on changed. And that in turn has the power to make things that much easier. And I think so often our success is more tied to the games our brain plays with us than anything else in the world. We have far more power and far more ability to control our destiny than we think we do at any given time, but our brain will trick us out of that every single time. And it will trick us into working harder and expending a lot more effort than we need to solve most problems. And then a coach can come along and be like, hey, there's a bridge. That's part of the power of having a coach And one of the most valuable things that I see in working with animals, in having a trainer or someone like that, is that they have done the thing 10,000 times. They have the body memory, they have the muscle memory, they have the belief, they have the understanding. And when you have someone that's with you that has that strong of a conviction about a skill or about a situation or whatever it is, then your body and your brain will have so much of an easier time learning this skill. I've experienced this numerous times with my trainer, and I had a conversation with her about it recently, that there have been some sticky situations in lessons with my horse. There have been times that the area we were riding in was surrounded by trees and there was a deer in the woods. And my horse could not see it, but it was like crashing and like thumping around, and branches are breaking, and there's the sound is moving around, and he freaked out completely. And she was able to 100% talk me through the entire situation in a safe way and kept me safe as a result, because she has had those experiences probably hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, in her career working with horses. And so she knew exactly everything to do to get through that situation so that we all survived safely. And it's to the point where I've worked with her so long now that when stuff starts to get really bad and my fear response starts to come up, all I can hear is her voice. Because my brain and my body, like, it's to the point where I physiologically know that her voice will keep me safe. And so I have to really hear her voice despite how scared my body might be in the moment. And so I'm able to work through it. And that's the power of having a coach with you who has such a strong vision and belief. If you're going to the gym, you're going to want to work with someone who has worked through the challenges that you've worked through and knows you can get there. A diet coach, a fitness coach, or whatever, it doesn't matter, business or anything. You want someone who has the vision and believes 100% that you can adopt this skill and you can master it to whatever level that you want to go to.
And the flip side of that too, there was a reel that we both watched recently about dogs with anxiety. And I watched it and I was like, oh, does that apply to me? Now, very easily, I could decide that that's a problem that I have. However, I was able to stop and be like, I've worked with a trainer with my dog. His biggest thing is this dog is so happy. This dog is stoked on life. And so knowing the feedback I've had from other trainers, it's like, does this actually apply to me? This is good information, but is this actually a problem I'm having or I'm not having? And I think there is so much information out there, and we are so willing to believe that we have that problem. I've had counselors before, and I've gone in and been like, well, there's this and this. And they're like, but that's not what the issue you're dealing with is. The issue you're dealing with is this over here. And I'm sure you've had that with your trainer as well. And I've had mountain bike students come to me and they think that they're dealing with this issue when really it's like, actually, no, you're doing great. You've got great body position. Everything you're doing is really good. What you actually need to do is this. You're trying to do a skill that you actually don't need to do to fix the problem. And so having somebody with that second set of eyes that has more experience is way more valuable than listening to some random reel and deciding that, oh, I'm struggling to lose weight, so I need to do XYZ. But actually, that piece of information wasn't for you. You're not the target market. And when you're not the target market for the message that is being portrayed, you can find yourself trying to go down a path that actually isn't the right path for you. So having someone with that experience that can look at your situation and give you the direction that you need to go in, because back to the bridge might actually be going in the wrong direction. So you've run into somebody and they're like, oh, no, you're good. You can just take that bridge. But that person doesn't know that your end destination is actually north, not south. And so you go and you take the bridge and you end up further in the wrong direction. So having the right directions that are actually fit to your situation saves you a lot of time, a lot of heartache, a lot of anxiety that may not be necessary.
Yeah. I feel like this is one of those things where, on one hand, we will never see ourselves exactly as we are. And that's why having coaches around you is valuable. You need someone who can support you and go, no, you are better at this thing than you think you are. And this is where you are missing some skills that maybe you think you have already. The flip side of that coin is it's also important to be able to make sure that you understand what your gut feels like and how to discern for you what is the best for yourself. And we all do that in slightly different ways, but it's important to make sure you have access to that voice, however it comes through for you. Otherwise, you'll go south on a bridge when you really want to be going north. And if all you're ever doing is following the advice of other people, you probably won't get exactly where you need to go, because somewhere along the way, you have to be able to tune inward and check in with your body and your own inner wisdom to validate, is this the direction I need to go? And then you need to work with a coach and get some external information and make sure you're perceiving things exactly as they are and your brain isn't trying to trick you. Your brain doesn't really have the answers. It's your body and your gut that do. And so learning to discern the difference is what's so important along the way. But it takes a combination of knowing your inner wisdom, finding someone who can support you. Listen to your inner wisdom, find someone who can support you. And you may work with a trainer or a coach for a very, very long time, like I have with my horse riding trainer. Or you may work with someone for a couple years and then decide through your own inner wisdom that they are no longer giving you information that's on your path. And that's fine. A good coach will recognize that probably before you do and help support you in whatever direction you want to go.
One of my employees was doing coaching with me in the last coaching class. I'm like, I'm going to send you all out with Ian, my husband. And she's like, what? You don't like me? You can't fix me? She totally went internal. I was like, no, you've been listening to me. Ian is a great coach, and he might just be able to say something in a way that really resonates with you that you haven't been able to hear from me. And it was so funny because she went out afterwards. I was like, how was it? And she's like, oh, well, I don't want to offend you. And she was so scared to tell me that they had an amazing session and that Ian had been amazing. And she's like, you're really good too. And Ian was amazing. And it was so cute because I'm like, well, I know he's amazing. And I know that he might be able to do something for you that maybe you couldn't get from me. Just because you learned something from him that I hadn't taught you doesn't diminish my ability, and it doesn't make him better than. It just means that you had a different experience, and that enabled you to move forward faster. And that's why I sent him out with you.
I love
In
it.
fact, you telling me that that was awesome is you validating me as a coach for making the right decision with switching up your coach for that week. But it was so cute because she was very resistant to start with and thought that I was like, oh, I'm done with you. I can't teach you anything. I'm sending you with somebody else. And then afterwards was very resistant to tell me that, in fact, it had been really good. And I think that is just, we're so internal and we're meaning making machines. And yeah, it's important as a coach to recognize when, you know what, you might actually get some value from somebody else. And it's not about the money and it's not about me. It's about the experience and the goal that you have on the other side. How do we get you to your destination? Should be the key component of any coaching relationship. How do we
Yeah.
get you comfortably feeling uncomfortable, moving through the challenges in a way that feels good to you, And you might find that, again, the best of the best get coaching because they know that it will enable them to get to their destination faster. So be willing to step into discomfort, be willing to be vulnerable, be willing to listen to people's advice and trust that they've got you back. And even if it's just a good friend and being held by them in a safe container, when we reach out for help, we get so much back in return. And I'm just going to leave. That's my summary of
I think
this.
that's it. That's really all it boils down to. Is being willing to be vulnerable and look for more answers and never stop asking questions, never stop learning. I love it.
Perfect. All right. This is our slightly discombobulated conversation around coaching and the intricacies. Can't even say that. I need coaching on my words. I am Natasha Lockey. I am a life and mountain bike performance coach. I love seeking more information. I love finding ways to help other people have better performance so that they can have more fun and they can really step into the life that they're dreaming of. You can find me at Betty Go Hard on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Natasha Lockey and on LinkedIn, Natasha Lockey as well. Our podcast is Riding in the Weeds. Please take a moment to review, make a comment, let us know that you're out there. It means the world to us. We love our listeners. We love you dearly, and we would love to know who you are and what you're up to. So, Riding in the Weeds on Instagram. We are also Facebook, Riding in the Weeds, and our website is ridingintheweeds.com. All right, Ginny, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Ginny Brandon. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. And if you are having challenges with your pets, whether that's emotional or behavioral, or just want to get to know more information from your pet's perspective, reach out to me and I would love to work with you both. You can find me on the web at soulpetconnections.com and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube under the same handle. We love you all so much and thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, everyone, have a fabulous day. We'll see you next time.